When a nation bleeds, it doesn't whisper, it roars. In one of his most powerful public declarations in recent times, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation with a statement that rang like thunder across the global stage. India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their patrons. These were not just the words, they were a vow, an ultimatum, a warning. He spoke in Bihar, but his words were aimed beyond the borders. We will pursue them to the ends of the earth, he said, promising a punishment, a revenge so fierce that it would shake the very foundation of the terror networks in this terrorist country. This wasn't just about justice, it was about deterrence. India is signaling a shift from passive condemnation to assertive retaliation, something that we have seen in past as well. The Pahalgam attack was one of the worst in recent memory. 26 innocent people killed, 26 innocent tourists slaughtered in a cold-blooded manner, targeted based on their religion. Those who couldn't recite a verse were shot. It was brutal, it was inhuman, and it demands more than just grief. So what has India done since? The response has been swift, layered, and strategic. What followed this terror attack was not a military strike, well, not as of now, but something equally decisive, a diplomatic surgical strike. Within 48 hours of this attack, India began dismantling one diplomatic channel after another, not with missiles, but with memos, expulsions, and hard-hitting measures that made one thing very clear, crystal clear: this time there would be no return to business as usual. First came the suspension of Indus Waters Treaty. This is a 64-year-old pact with Pakistan that had survived wars, coups, and decades of animosity. For the first time in history, India halted talks under this treaty and recalled its commissioners. It was a message to Pakistan: the old rules of engagement are off the table now. Then came the closure of the Atari integrated checkpost, the only land route through which India and Pakistan trade goods. The route accounted for over 4,000 crores in trade last year, mostly benefiting small businesses and exporters in Pakistan. Now, shutting it down wasn't just symbolic, it hurt not just Pakistan's economy, but also its access to Indian goods and Indian market. It was a precision strike targeting the economic undercurrent of the bilateral ties without spilling blood. Next came the diplomatic expulsions. India ordered Pakistan to recall its military, naval, and air attaches from the High Commission in New Delhi. These are the senior defense personnel who represent strategic cooperation. Their removal signals a complete freeze in the military dialogue. Meanwhile, India is also recalling its own attaches from Islamabad. It's a full-blown withdrawal, the kind of move countries take before relations hit rock bottom. Something I believe that should have done years ago. Perhaps the most striking was the suspension of the SAARC visa exemption scheme toward Pakistani nationals, a move that has rarely, if ever, been used. The scheme allowed politicians, diplomats, and select business people to travel visa-free from across South Asia. Now, Pakistanis under that scheme just have 48 hours to leave India. Even in the worst periods of hostility, these exemptions stayed intact, but this time even that courtesy has been withdrawn. See the whole situation. Together, these steps form a coordinated, deliberate pattern. No chest thumping, no border shelling, no quick airstrikes, just calculated, led retaliation as of now. A diplomatic surgical strike, the aim to isolate Pakistan internationally, squeeze it economically, and communicate to the entire world that India will not tolerate terror, not even diplomatically. Pakistan's response to India's diplomatic strike has been desperate and frankly laughable. In a stunning display of hypocrisy, the same country that harbored terrorists responsible for the massacre of these innocent 26 people in Pahalgam is now trying to paint itself as the victim of this whole situation. Islamabad's decision to suspend the Shimla Agreement, shut down the Wagha border, cancel SAARC visa, and expel Indian diplomats is nothing but a dramatic tantrum, a poor man's mirror to India's calculated and justified actions. The irony is, dear viewers, that nearly every move by Islamabad is a carbon copy of India's decisions, but here is where it gets downright outrageous. Pakistan, the global sanctuary for extremists, now warns that any Indian move to divert water under the Indus Waters Treaty will be treated as, and I quote, an act of war. An act of war? This forms a nation who soil trained, armed, and sent the killers into Kashmir. The truth is out, Pakistan's mask is off, and the world sees it now. Not as a peace seeking state, but as a panicked patron of terror, flailing in the face of global exposure. Prime Minister Modi's words were fierce, the Indian government's actions were firm. But the real test is what comes next, because terrorism doesn't end with a speech or a single response. It ends when the system becomes smarter than the attackers, when the country stays united, and when justice isn't just promised, it is delivered to the people. India is wounded, yes, but it is not weak. This is a country that doesn't forget and doesn't definitely forgive. To those who think they can break our spirits with bullets, know this, we will come for you. This time it's different. This time the line has been crossed and India is not turning back.